All right. Good morning, everybody. We are going to begin with our May Coffee break. We have two grant specialists over at the DNR today to discuss grant opportunities there, as well as what they are looking for when they review your application. So we have Jennifer Fireherm, who brings over 20 years of experience on both sides of the grant world to her grant manager position at the DNR. For the last several years, she has managed the Forest Fire Protection Grant Program and the Dry Cleaner Environmental Response Fund, while helping DNR grant staff learn and use the state's new financial system. Prior to her current position, she spent over a decade as a grant-funded organizer, policy analyst, and strategist for a national nonprofit organization. She began her career by helping secure federal grant funding for her initial DNR positions with the Community Right to Know law. Jennifer has a Bachelor's of Science in Zoology and Sociology from UW-Madison. Then we will also have Ann Dansart Hirkatur. She is a registered professional hydrologist with 16 years of experience in water resources management. Recently, she worked for the Wisconsin DNR as the Wisconsin River TMDL project manager. And in this role, she engaged and developed partnerships with agricultural producers, citizen groups, and municipal and industrial dischargers, and currently works for WDNR as coordinator of Runoff Management Grants Program. Her areas of expertise include project management, grants management and administration, partnership development, watershed planning, and water quality, groundwater, hydrologic, and nutrient balance modeling. Ann has a master's degree in hydrogeology and in water resources management from UW-Madison. So we're going to go ahead and start with Jennifer, and we'll share her PowerPoint right now. All right, Jennifer, take it away.
All right. Today we will go over the different kinds of grant opportunities that the DNR offers, and as a part of that, go over some of the tips so that your proposals can be as successful as possible. I will give a broad overview of all of the opportunities we offer, and then we'll look at some in specific, specifically the Hunter Recruitment, Development, Training, and Education Program, the Aquatic Invasive Species Prevention and Control Program, the Citizen-Based Monitoring Program, and then I'll turn it over to Ann to tell you a lot more about all of our suite of runoff management grants. Finally, we'll come back to sum up the best ways to make your applications stronger and more fundable. So generally speaking, DNR has 57 grant programs and 4 loan programs. In terms of our grant programs, we give out about $70 million each year in a whole variety of different kinds of grant programs. That amounts to about 3,200 grants a year. We get our money from a variety of sources, including the Wisconsin legislature, state funds of various kinds. Money from the federal government, some folks call those pass-through grants. We'll get money from the Forest Service or the EPA and use that money to help folks out. And sometimes there's special funding for special projects. Our grants go to a variety of different kinds of entities, from local governments and municipalities to nonprofit organizations and individuals. About 60% of our grants go to municipalities and county governments. And about 40% of our grants go to individuals and nonprofits. In terms of the actual money, about 3/4 of our grant funding goes to local governments, and 1/4 of that funding ends up in the hands of individuals and nonprofits. Here we break down the different grant opportunities into categories that kind of describe what they do. So there's public health and safety, where we protect people from wildfires, clean up toxic soils. Then there's a set of grant programs that help enhance our natural resources environment, protect or slow the spread of invasive species, protect from runoff pollution, that sort of thing. And then outdoor recreation grants that do things like fund trails, make more boating facilities available for the public, that kind of thing, and make sure that we're setting aside lands that we can enjoy. I'm a grant manager for 2 grant programs. One is called Forest Fire Protection Program, and that's a 50-50 grant program where we give resources to local fire departments to get equipment and training to help them help us fight wildland fires. And my other program is called the Dry Cleaning Environmental Response Fund, and those are funds that go specifically to dry cleaners and former dry cleaners to remediate toxic soils at dry cleaning properties. Those aren't ones we're going to focus on, but I just wanted to share with you what I do. The next thing I'm going to do is show you how to get at grant information. We'll be referring to the websites and resources throughout the presentations. And I just want to show you how to get there because we really rely on our websites as the first point of contact for information. So if you go to DNR's main website, dnr.wi.gov, we've got a link to our grants and loans right there on the home page. You can see the red box around it. And if you click that, you get to a place where you can find out all about our grants or all about our loans, whatever you're interested in. When you get down into the grants page, there's a couple different ways you can look for grants. The A to Z is usually the best if you know what you're looking for. You're trying to find a specific program. Then the categorical tabs, these are all tabs. When you click them, you get a different suite of information. But that puts the grant programs in terms of their functions. And it's a really nice way if you're just looking for what opportunities are out there to get the summary, because you'll see that it lists the eligibility and purpose of each of the programs, how much money is available, who you need to contact, what the deadlines are, that kind of thing. So that's the first place that you should go for grant information. Once you get to the actual grant websites, they all look pretty similar. The tabs vary a little bit, but they follow our general grant cycles. They'll provide who can apply in the grant application and all the materials you need to apply for a grant. They lay out the deadlines that you need to meet and how you get reimbursed. Most of our grant programs are reimbursement programs, so what you need to give to us so that we can reimburse you for the work that you've done. Most of our grants are cost share, so that means that the grantee provides part of the cost for their project and we help provide the other part of that cost. All have specific eligible entities and eligible products or items that change across the grant program, so that's important to know. Some grants need special documents in order to apply for them, things like memorandums of understanding or authorizing resolutions from local governments, that kind of thing. And then with the reimbursement requests, programs have different levels of reporting that are necessary, proofs of purchase and payment for the items or services that you purchased or provided, and many of our programs require a final report or inspections of the project, like the trail that was built or something like that. So the first program we're going to delve into more specifically is the Hunter Recruitment, Development, Training, and Education Grant Program. This program is a public-private partnership providing cost sharing to local entities. It uses federal wildlife restoration funds. We get about $200,000 every 2 years that we can give out. It's a variable cost sharing program up to 75%, so DNR will cover up to 75% of your project if the project is funded. The cap of the grant award is $10,000, and projects are allowed to span multiple years. This program, the main contact is on the screen there, Keith Warnke. If you want more specific information than I'm able to provide here, that's who you get a hold of. Generally speaking, the focus of this grant program is to develop new adult hunters, especially female hunters, to test new ways to train, develop, and educate hunters so that they're operating in safe and responsible ways, to train mentors to commit to new hunters for a period of years. So not just one-off events, that it favors plans that will engage mentors over multiple years. It also favors projects that have been shown to be successful elsewhere or based on principles that have been shown to be successful, and projects that engage people for a longer period of time, as I said, not just one-off. The money can pay for employees, consultant services, other services for your plan to engage hunters. And for this one, I pulled out the project scoring criteria that the Hunter Recruitment Program uses. As I said, our grant programs, the scoring criteria for the grant programs vary across the grant programs, but the thing they have in common is we make it transparent on our website. So you'll always be able to look up how your proposal will be scored before you submit it. And so for this one, making sure the application is complete and has enough details to really understand what you're trying to do. And they'll give you points based on that. The biggest category is the likelihood of project success, and that's where they like to look at, are you basing it on principles that we've seen to be successful elsewhere? And then you can kind of see how they're trying to target the money. You get more points if you're engaging people long-term. If you're engaging families, you'll get more points if you have a good system to evaluate and report on your successes. And this is also a program where you get varying points depending on how much money you're asking DNR to match for your project. So you get the most points if you're only asking DNR to fund less than a quarter of your project, and you get the least points if you're asking DNR to cover more than 3/4 of your project. That allows us to help people when they need a lot of help, but also get the most grants out to the most people. So those are the scoring criteria for that. Again, if you want more information, check out the website and contact Keith. Next, we'll talk a bit about the Aquatic Invasive Species Prevention and Control grants. This is kind of an overview of those grant programs. The money for these comes from the boat fuel tax, and it's divided up among a suite of surface water grants that we have, of which aquatic invasive species makes up the most. This appropriation, the amount of money for this program, has tripled in size over the last 10 years. This is stopping or slowing the spread of invasive species is something our legislators have supported a lot over the years. We don't have a lot of staff to manage this program though, so the grant funding is a way that we can work more closely with counties to get more work done than we could do with just DNR staff. The folks that are eligible to apply for this program, there's a whole lot of different kind of entities that can. The grants are given out first to local units of government, and then once those good proposals are funded, money starts going out to nonprofit organizations and the other entities you see listed here. There are 3 overarching types of aquatic invasive species grants, and I will go over those 3. And I'll repeat this, but the big piece of advice I got from the aquatic invasive species folks was, if you're interested in these grants, get in touch with your DNR biologist early and often, and let them help you shape your proposal so it's meeting the goals that you're trying to meet. And again, those contacts are available on our website. The first kind of grant is prevention grants. There's 3 different kinds of grants under this kind of grant. The most basic is the small $4,000 per boat launch grant that we call Clean Boats, Clean Waters. That's what the CBCW stands for. And it's $4,000 per boat launch to hire staff in the summer that help make sure that when folks move their boats from one body of water to another, they're not taking hitchhikers with them. Then there's 2 other subcategories of grants, those under $50,000 and those between $50,000 and $150,000. And those are to essentially do the things we need to do to prevent the spread of species. Do inventories of your water body to see what's there now, to identify those things that are most probable to invade your waterway, and create prevention and control plans. Then there's the control grants for when you've already got an invasive species in your water body and you want to address it. These ones are for early detection and response, perhaps the most important kind of AIS grants that we give out, because once you see an invasive species, the quicker you act, the better chance you have of eradicating it from your water body. So these grants help take immediate action, and they're available year-round, as we'll see shortly. Finally, there's the control grants for species that are already established in your water body. These are $200,000 grants with 75% match. These projects are included in management plans, so this is where a DNR biologist has created a plan to manage a water body, and these control measures are included in that plan, and we help fund those. Deadlines for these programs vary depending on which kind it is. If you're working on planning and prevention and getting out ahead of things, or that boat launch grant I was talking about, Clean Boats, Clean Waters, that deadline is December 10th. If you have an established population and you want to control it, those deadlines are February 1st. And as I said, year-round, if you detect an invasive species that you haven't seen before early, you can apply for help to address that anytime in the year. Again, check out our website for more help with these programs. Moving on to the Wisconsin Citizen-Based Monitoring Partnership Program. Citizen-based monitoring involves the public in the long-term monitoring of our natural resources. It's a type of citizen science, and that's basically when you involve volunteers in scientific research. It's becoming more and more important as the context of our environmental management changes, because citizen-based monitoring is a great way to get lots of data over widespread areas using the talents of Wisconsin residents. What is the partnership program? It's not really a grant program, even though we include it on the grant website, because it is a way to get resources to get good work done. It's a partnership with Wisconsin DNR and Based Monitoring Network program. It provides funding contracts of less than $5,000 to citizen-based monitoring, and it's a way that we can partner with the public to collect very important priority data on our plants, animals, and habitats. So as I said, funding can go up to $5,000. Payment is made on receipt of deliverables, like most of our grant programs are. There's an annual cycle. We ask for requests for proposal in February. Those proposals are due in April, and then we give out awards July 1st through June 30th. Each year, the DNR creates a list of priority monitoring needs, and we include those in the request for proposal. Applications need to describe how a group will contribute the data to meet those needs. Funding primarily goes to equipment and supplies, but travel, stipends, and wages for a volunteer trainer or coordinator are also okay. The actual monitoring needs to be done by volunteers. If it isn't, then it isn't citizen-based monitoring. We funded a lot of projects over the years, and some of them have related specifically or worked specifically with UW Extension partners. One is the Wisconsin Master Naturalist Program, which is funded to add citizen science to the training curriculum and create an introductory video to citizen-based monitoring in Wisconsin. And we funded Water Action Volunteer Stream Monitoring Project. It funded Marathon County Extension to train farmers and other local volunteers to monitor streams. We did a project assessing stream health, where we funded to test whether volunteers could identify macroinvertebrates, essentially insects and crayfish and things like that, that live in streams, and if they could identify them sufficiently well to give us an idea about stream health. And then finally, we funded growing a citizen-based monitoring network in Sheboygan County to train and coordinate volunteers to monitor birds, frogs, and toads, and several other animals. Here's just a snapshot of the citizen-based monitoring brochure that we use to reach out to folks. We have copies of this. If you're interested, let me know. Here's the back side of it just real quick so you see the resources that we have. And more specific questions can be answered by Eva at the DNR, who runs the citizen-based monitoring program. So you can contact me or Eva if you have more questions about this program. And now we'll turn it to Anne to talk a bit more about the non-point programs.